Hello and welcome to today's video. Today's video I just wanted to express my feelings about this drama I just watched, Big Hero Class 1. I binged it. It's just 8 episodes, and based off of a webtoon, which I'm already reading because it's just I just want more of that. First of all, it's about a guy, three guys actually, but the main person I was invested in was Yeon Sieun. Yeon Sieun is this type of, studies hard, works hard. I mean, school wise, and then everybody expects, like, typical expectation of him will be, oh, he's a nerd, he's scared, he cannot fight, all those things. And then you see him doing running sessions, breathing hard, losing his breath, like, he's just very weak person. But there's this tweet I saw about the show on Twitter that made me run to binge it. It was this thing where it say, sluttiest thing a man can be is mentally unstable. As well, like, and that's my baby girl. And it was this video of him pummeling this other guy. And I was like, hey, this guy doesn't look typical. I have to watch it. This actor, Park Ji Hoon, I've not seen any of those before. It feels like a newbie to me. But I think I saw him in this historical drama. But I think this historical drama came out after Weak Hero Class 1. I don't know which one came first, but I saw that historical drama first, and he was like this character. He played this character that has a known personality like Mr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So when I saw him, I was looking at him, I was like, I know this guy, I know this guy, I know this guy. And then I was like, hey, I know him. It's not new. But the drama was awesome in the sense that, first of all, the way the build up to the confrontation he had with the first, the main honcho of their class. I've forgotten that one's name. Okay, John Young Bin, yes. The way it built up, there was the whole torment process where he could not have a day of peace, you know, always picking fights with him, even though he wouldn't respond, nearly choking him out, until it's trying to intervene, and all the while, Yeon is experiencing this horrors. He's not responding in your typical way. He doesn't put up a subservient aura, but he doesn't fight back in a sense. You get, and then his head is full of calculations, things he has memorized. Exams are coming up. There's always an exam. If it's not mock, it's serious student exam. There's not literally. And then Yeon Sieun has this background where his father is very absent. He trains students, so he's not always around. And his mother, at first I thought she was late, and that's why the guy was like holding on to her tutorial videos online. But later I see that she's not late, they're just separated or divorced, I don't know. But she doesn't have any sort of influence or presence in his life. So he's basically by himself all the time at home, eating microwave meals and all of that. So you would expect somebody with such a, I don't want to call it empty, but it felt very empty life, to not really have any will to fight or to try to, protest the system or anything. But when the conflict happened, the way the conflict, even like what led to his absolute breakdown was when you're being slapped on this drug sticker on him using a person, which that is another character, Obomsok. So Young being threatened Obomsok with his past, the shameful past of being bullied, which I don't know what's shameful about being bullied. I think it's horrifying, but I don't think the victim should feel shame about being tortured by people or a gang of people, you know. But it is shameful, I think, when you're in high school and you're weak. And that's the other thing that I want to touch on, the masculinity of it, or toxic masculinity, and the systems that toxic masculinity try to uphold, which is that as a man you should not be beaten down, you should not be oppressed. If you are oppressed, it's a thing you should be ashamed of, it's a thing you should be embarrassed about, and you should never talk about it, which is sick, because the people that are perpetuating these ideas are people that also have the power to oppress people that are not like them. So, like, in a world of only men, you get the way men, like, not men but, well, men in general, the way they propose this whole system of masculinity, they say, oh, we cannot do anything about it, it's just the way the world is. And women's oppressions are being sidelined, or not really sidelined in the sense that they are just seen as, oh, because women are weak, you get. But among men, there are weak men. You understand? They keep the idea of patriarchy. The patriarchy tends to push this idea that, oh no, men are not weak. You know, they are not weak men. It's just women. Women are genetically made to be weak, and it's like, bro, this is an only boys school, and there is still a hierarchy. If all men were favored by the patriarchy according to what the patriarchy suggests, then all men should be able to exist, peacefully, coexist peacefully. But no, the patriarchy is not a system set up to favor anybody. Do you get? Most men that benefit from patriarchy don't speak up against it because they feel like, well, it's a man's world in the sense like, oh, men have the power, they have everything. But like, if it were only men in this situation, somebody would have to be weak for the patriarchy to continue to exist. And those somebodies are people like Obomsok. They are not genetically, I don't want to say genetically, but that's a bit eugenistic, and Yeon Sieun disproves that. But like, Yeon Sieun doesn't have stamina, nothing. He's just a basic kid, trying to survive high school, final year of high school and all that. Or not final year, but this part of high school. And Obamsok is also a nerd, looks like a nerd. I don't want to call him a nerd, looks like a nerd, presents as a nerd. He's not like tough, and he doesn't have the presentation to garner approval from the typical men that are typical manhood or typical masculinity that is upheld by the patriarchy. Do you get? So Obomsok doesn't meet the standards of the patriarchy, and so he has to be punished for it. Do you get? That is why nobody checks for bullying basically in that society. People don't check for bullying because they feel like if you are being bullied, you probably deserve it. They won't say it outright, but um the mentality of being conditioned, the mentality or a mentality that has been conditioned by the patriarchy will always believe that any suffering any man experiences under the patriarchy, he deserves it because I'm not suffering and I'm a man. I have a penis, I'm genetically a man, I was born male, and I'm not suffering. So if you are suffering, there must be something wrong with you. There was something feminine about you. And so there's that. So Obamsok is a tool in John Young's hand to smack this strip of fentanyl or this hard drug on this guy's skin, Yeon Sieun's skin. And he does this in the middle of the exam, like I guess it's the mock exam at first. And Yeon Sieun goes insane in a way because the effect of hard drugs on anybody. He goes insane, and it's not even administered orally, through the skin. So he goes insane and everything, and he messes up his test scores and everything. And he's like, just the thing just comes back to him after the whole shenanigans. He comes back to the class. He goes out in the middle of the exam, he throws up in a bed bathroom, has an episode, comes back, finds the way to the class, he's dizzy and everything, and he manages to make it to class. He sits down and he starts trying to wake himself up. It's violent, he's hitting himself, hitting himself a lot. And then he wakes up. I don't think he wakes up, but I think he gets a moment of clarity. The teacher is present in the class, and she's all surprised, like, hey, this is a gentle guy that has won mass award, he's a good guy. Another thing again important to notice that the thing about high schools and the system of education, especially in schools, the system of education is crap. Like, because somebody is doing well in school or has high grades in school does not mean that person is okay in any sense. Does not mean that person is better than another person in another sense, or does not mean that person cannot be a more or less criminal or Jew or delinquent. Like, the educational system is crap in the sense that you don't get any attention from, well, any meaningful attention from your temporary caregivers in this sense, which are the teachers, the school body, school staff, and all that. You don't get any attention from them. You fly under their radar for acts of disobedience, rebellion, delinquency, when you produce super grades. Like in the whole drama, They will start off with the entrance of the school, and at the entrance of the school, you see proudly written in a banner, four students, three students admitted to Seoul University from our school. And it's like supposed to be this thing like is a glory for the school. You know, to them, all those students being admitted is a very big source of like achievements for the school name. And it's like at the end of the day, they're just numbers. Because when I was looking at it, I was like, just three, like a part of me just went, just three, let it be four now. So like this whole school student body, just three students and then so university, like so in that moment it dehumanizes the effort, it dehumanizes students, it minimizes their efforts, you know, and it's careless with the sacrifices it takes to get into a top university like so university. So the teacher, going back to the situation, the teacher was like, bro, what's going on? She didn't say bro, but she was like, Shion, like she doesn't expect that from a person like a student like Shion. And it's like, I'm okay. And then he gets moment of clarity when Obomsok slapped his neck with something. And he looks at Obomsok, and Obomsok is like, wants to apologize. You know, he's already sniveling, groveling in the way, and you can see that he's just a pawn. And then it comes to this guy's mind, it comes to Shion's mind that, oh, I know who's behind this. So when the time comes for them to mark get their score, and he sees that he's just failing most of the questions, he flares up. And in that moment, I'm like, okay, yes, he's actually mentally unstable. Like, bro is not okay upstairs. But like at the end of the day, the whole story is very minimal. His mental state is minimal. First of all, he goes around telling people he doesn't have a mom. He has a mom. She's not present in his life. But he goes around telling people he doesn't have a mom. How ironic that I'm watching this, you know, the day after Mother's Day. Ha ha ha. So he goes around telling people he doesn't have a mom, even though he's very much in his heart. He's very much attached to her. She has this lingering presence in her lives. He literally watches her tutorial to sleep. Do you get that kind of thing? But he doesn't call her. So it's this kind of relationship where, you know, and all of that. And then apparently Shion was a weak child. You know, those children that he was a weak child, and he was caught up in the middle of an argument between his parents where they were like grumbling and, you know, resenting the fact that they had to take care of a child that both of them agreed to have. Like, are you dumb? Are you stupid? You know, that, and you can't really, I don't want to say you can't blame them because I'm blaming them 100%. The thing about having children is that when they are sick, you know, when they are not performing, like when they are differently abled, that's why you see, not all parents are, but some parents will start saying shit like, oh, I didn't want to have this child, you know, like I didn't want to have this child. So they recognize the presence of the choice when you mess up. Like when I messed up too in my life, one of my parents went, oh, I wish I didn't have you, you know, I wish we were aborted and all that. And I was like, it didn't hurt me in any dramatic way, but it's just like, wow, so you had a choice, you had a choice, and you made the choice to not, you made the choice to have me. You get, so since you can make that choice to have me, and then you can also regret your choices in having me, I don't know why children are upheld to this impossible standard of being being filial to their parents. Like, filial piety should be a choice also, because if you can resent a child that is not up to your standard, you can resent your choices in making a child or bringing a child into this world. I feel like children can also get to the point where, like, children should also be allowed to resent you as a parent, you know. Like, children should be allowed to reject your parenthood. Children should be allowed to reject you as a parent. Do you get, without being judged by society? You know, some children, when people say, oh, I don't like my parent, people expect them to say, okay, because your parents almost killed you with abuse, or because your parents abandoned you, you know. But people are living generally mundane lives, and they hate their parents. And hate is not even the real thing. It's not hate, it's just deep feelings of rejection in their whole humanity, rejection of their whole humanity, because people that brought them into the world regret bringing them into the world. You get that kind of thing. So children have a right. Children should have the choice to also speak back to their parents and be like, you bringing me to the world is not something that somebody should give you. I should give you an award for. Maybe the government with their agenda of population, of filling up their country to have labor to build their imaginary country. Maybe the husband that put the pressure on you to have kids for him. Maybe your own family that says that you should marry, you should have children by force, by fire. Those people should give you an award for having those children, not the children that didn't have a say in all of this, not the children that have been the subject of your resentment and your regrets and your, how do I put it? All of that. You get, there's nothing sentimental about rejecting your own child, resenting your child for being born, resenting the conditions that they were born in, resenting the choices that they make, into the extent that you reject their entire humanity. There's nothing sentimental about that. So hold that same energy for when the child is not feeling sentimental to wish you something as silly as Happy Mother's Day or Happy Father's Day or whatever. So that's aside. So Shion has that upbringing. So he has always, so obviously someone like that feels like he has to take care of his own life. You know, he has to take care of his own self by himself. You know, he has to be responsible for his own life. His parents are just figureheads at this point. You get, they can't speak to him, they don't understand what he goes through, they don't know him as a person. The mother says phrases like, oh, my son is so independent, I don't even nag him about learning maths. He does everything by himself. And Shion is a top student, and you'll be like, okay, she's right. Her child does everything by himself. But it's like, where do you come in? What are you there? Like, why are you here? Why are you claiming him as your son? It might as well be a bank account, whatever. So, knowing that he has to handle this problem by himself, Shion makes a decision in the heat of the moment, and is the most, how do I say this without sounding like a creep? But he is the most sexiest thing ever when he gets up, calculates Newton's law of force and acceleration, I think, and he stabs his classmate, the first classmate, which is a lackey, who that the classmate that is a lackey of Jung Young, he stabs into his palm with a pen, and it's like a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible moment. Like, it's just like, and you know that this is spontaneous. You know, this is fucking spontaneous, in the moment feeling, in the moment decision. This is someone that doesn't show any sign of stamina, is not athletic in any way, has never worked with the big gang or the big group. You know, it's not a hot shot or what, is a fucking nerd. But so all the actions he takes to deal with those bullies in that moment is completely spontaneous. But he does it by sheer will. God, he does it by sheer will, and he's like, oh, stamp this on, take somebody else's textbook, oh, smack that one on the face. That's John Young. The other, they're like a group of three. So the third one is like so smallish, and that one knows that if he steps in, he's not going to survive. So he just watching it all. In fact, the whole class is watching it all. As you know, that infamous scene where he wraps the guy's head with the cotton and smashes his nose or smashes his face till he passes out. You know, like, phew, what a scene! What a moment! Oh God, I love it. Like, I love it. I feel like I could watch it over and over again. I'm not a movie repeater or a drama repeater, but I feel like I could watch that episode again and again and again. It's so fantastic. Then another thing to point out again is that Obomsok agreed to do Jong Young bidding because he saw strangle marks, somebody's fingers, like strangulation marks on Shill's neck. And you know he has history with abuse, with bullying in his former school. So it's like, if I stand with this person, I'm going to end up in the same situation I was. So now that's another thing. Like, he's weak. You know, in this whole setting, he's weak. and he refuses to stand with the weak. Despite the fact that there might be power in numbers, he just refuses to stand with the weak. He rather align himself with the um with the big bad wolf, you know, because that big bad aligning yourself with big bad wolf, it's not like there's a security, but there's a security that somebody else would be the focus of their bullying, of their violence, not me at least. Even if they want to do anything to me, I can always like somebody else. And he had already seen his triangulation marks on Shield's neck, so it's like, oh, phew, somebody else is the scapegoat, you know. For once in my life, I don't want to be the scapegoat. And it's like a very logical choice, but it's also the evils of patriarchy, in the sense that patriarchy supports that if you cannot fight for yourself, then align yourself to a stronger person. Yes, patriarchy uplifts strength, like physical strength. It also it upholds strength as a virtue. You know, as a man under a patriarchal system, you have to be strong, physically fucking strong. If you're not strong, you're a fucking loser. You're feminine, and we're going to pummel you out if you don't exist again. So, in an instant, mental conditioning of patriarchy kicked in, and he aligned himself with John Young. But then the table turned on him because the person that seemed weak, you know, beat the shit out of the wolves. So now what? Why did he go for me a Ubomso? And for some reason, when I was watching, I was like, Ubomso, Ubomso, Ubomso. Because he looked so mousy, like all those Ratatouille, that guy that Ratatouille was controlling, that rat was controlling the chef. He looks like all those ratty male protagonists of those Disney movies of that era. Yeah. So he just looked so, I was just like attached, like, oh, Ubomso, Ubomso, Ubomso. And I didn't know that Ubomso was going to be very, very pivotal. And so immediately that happened, this guy has already lost his mind, his brain's already off, he's just working on pure instinct. I mean shield, and he's like, I'm going to kill this fucker. It's just so obvious. Then and Suho steps in, and they are like, wait, oh, so there was a stronger guy in this class. Well, obviously there was a stronger guy in this class, in the class. Sue already proved his strength when some upper class came to their class and was like, who do you think you're talking to now? And I was like, which noun? In noun, pack noun. They're not like son now. And you know son now is the name of an 18th member, and it's like, fuck you. Anyway, so they come, they try to beat him, and he like dodges all of their attacks, and he kind of handles them in a way that they do not mess with him in the future. And they're upperclassmen, and they're all athletes, like baseballers or whatever. So you get an idea that Ansu is also a honcho, but he's not a bully. He's just strong. Probably has some professional training in the past, which we later get to find out in middle school he was an MMA, or it was, I don't know what they call this thing, shy. It was shy in the MMA stuff. So but he retired, he didn't take it, didn't pursue it any further. So like that whole episode one is reviewed a lot of, it reviewed the placement of the system. This is an all boys school, so they are all men. You know, there's no woman to offset their system, to offset their patriarchal outflow. So now that the patriarchy exists in a world of only men, can only men, like, can men still say that the patriarchy is not bothersome to them? Because how do you know you're not going to be rejected by the patriarchy? How do you know you meet standard? What are these? Obviously, we already see how men are trying to meet the standards of patriarchy. We see all this annotate and its breed. We see all these mansplainers all over the internet. We see men speaking over. So it's like if they put all people in one island, like a lot of the flies, they put all people in one island. How are they going to exist? You know, like, who is going to take it? Like, who is going to take it? Who is going to be feminine in that sense? Because the idea of being weak is usually like, oh, women are genetically, that's how they're the weaker sex, you know, said a man who doesn't know one shit about women, but like weaker sex, that it is that weaker sex, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, all of you are men now. So who is weaker? What makes one man more man than the other? It's like that in quotes in animal farm, all animals are equal, but more and more, but some are more equal than the others. Like said by is it pig or boa? But I need to read that book again. Yeah. So like that's the first part of my analysis. I want to go more. I want to go more. But I'm so happy I spoke about it. Like the feeling was just boiling up in me after I binged it. I know I am notorious for not completing my K dramas. Like I started drama and I just stopped. Episode 6, 7, I just stopped because like, bro, relax. I need to watch something else. Like it doesn't hold my attention for that long anymore. But this one was like in a second, and it's always very interesting to me exploring patriarchal value systems in an only men's world, like all boys school. All boys school.